The bakery called me by mistake. Mr. Bennett, we're just confirming you'll still be picking up the princess cake at 3? I smiled. Of course, it wouldn't be Lily's birthday without that cake. There was a pause. Then the young woman sounded confused. I'm sorry, I thought your daughter cancelled your order. My smile disappeared. Candled? She said. The employee stopped herself. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't. It's all right. What did she say? Another long silence, then quietly, she told us, don't bother. He isn't coming anyway. For a second, I honestly thought she had the wrong customer. My daughter called? Yesterday. She switched the pickup to someone named Jason. Jason, I had never heard that name before. I thanked her, hung up, and stared at my phone. It was 8:43 in the morning. Lily hadn't called me. She hadn't texted me. She hadn't mentioned changing anything. I opened our messages. The last one I'd sent was 2 days earlier. Can't wait to see my birthday girl Saturday. Let me know if you need anything. She hadn't replied. Instead, as if the universe had been waiting for me to notice, my phone vibrated. A new message. From Lily, Dad. Don't bother coming today. I frowned before I could type. Another message appeared. Honestly, you're embarrassing. Then one more. Jason's family will be there. Please don't make this awkward. I read those 4 sentences 5 times. Not because I didn't understand them, because I couldn't make them fit the little girl who used to run into my arms every birthday morning wearing a paper crown. My name is Michael Bennett. I'm 60 years old. For 35 years. I owned Bennett Custom Furniture. Nothing flashy. We built dining tables that lasted generations, libraries, church pews, handmade rocking chairs. If someone wanted something built to outlive them, they called us. I wasn't rich, I wasn't famous, but I'd never missed one important day in my daughter's life. Dance recitals, science fairs, soccer games, college graduation. When Lily got married 3 years ago, I walked her down the aisle with tears I wasn't ashamed to hide. If someone had told me then that one day she'd call me an embarrassment, I'd have laughed. After retiring, I downsized the workshop, kept only a small studio behind my house. Mostly I repaired antique furniture now. It gave me something to do every birthday. Since Lily turned 5, I'd built her something by hand, a dollhouse, a bookshelf, a cedar hope chest. Last year, a nursery rocking chair after my grandson was born. This year, I'd spent almost 4 months making something special. A dining table, collared American walnut, seats 8, hid extension leaves, hand-carved edges, the kind of table where families grow old together. I'd planned to wheel it into her backyard after everyone yelled, "Surprise!" Now, I looked through my workshop window. The table sat under a canvas cover waiting, just like I was. At 11, my phone rang. It was my younger sister, Carol. "You sound quiet. I got a strange message from Lily," she sighed. "You got one too?" "What do you mean?" "She texted the whole family." My stomach tightened. "What did she say?" Carol hesitated. "She asked us not to bring you." I felt something inside me go completely still. "What reason did she give?" Carol answered carefully. She said, "Jason's parents are sophisticated people, and she didn't want." Another pause. "She didn't want them thinking she came from." She couldn't finish. I didn't need her to. I already knew. She thought I made her look small. At 2 o'clock, I loaded the dining table into my old pickup anyway, not because I planned to ignore her message, because I hadn't decided what to do yet. The birthday was only 20 minutes away. I parked 2 streets over, far enough that no one would see the truck, close enough to think. Children's laughter floated through the warm afternoon air. Balloons danced above the backyard fence. Someone started singing happy birthday. I stayed inside the truck, hands resting on the steering wheel, listening. Then, a little boy's voice drifted across the yard. "Mom, when's Grandpa coming?" Silence, then Lily answered, "He's busy. We're celebrating with family today." I closed my eyes. Family, apparently. I no longer qualified. I started the engine, shifted into reverse, and quietly drove away. I never noticed that someone standing across the street had watched me the entire time. Someone holding a phone, recording everything. I didn't go home, not right away. Instead, I drove to the lake where Lily learned to ride a bicycle. I parked beneath the same oak tree where she'd once cried because she was afraid to let go of the training wheels. "Dad, what if I fall?" I'd smiled. "Then I'll pick you up." For 28 years, that had been my job. Pick her up. No matter what. Today, she'd let go of me instead. The dining table was still strapped to the trailer behind my truck. I climbed out and pulled back the canvas. The walnut shimmered in the afternoon sun. I ran my hand across the smooth surface. Every corner had been carved by hand, every joint cut without a single screw. Underneath, hidden where only she would ever see it, I'd engraved 4 words, for every family gathering. I stared at those words for a long time, then quietly covered the table again. My phone buzzed. Jason. I almost ignored it, then curiosity won. Michael? His voice sounded nervous. I wanted to apologize. For what? I didn't know Lily sent those texts. I stayed silent, he continued. I only found out because my mother showed me. Your mother? She said she thought something felt wrong. Apparently, Jason's parents had asked where I was. Lily laughed. Oh, my dad isn't really our crowd. His mother hadn't laughed. Neither had his father. Jason sighed. My dad got up from the table. He asked, "Where's the man who built that beautiful rocking chair in your nursery?" I frowned. What? My parents still talk about it. You remember the rocking chair you made after Noah was born? Of course. My mother tells everyone it was the most meaningful gift we've ever received. I closed my eyes. Jason continued quietly. When Lily called you embarrassing, my father stood up and walked away. That surprised me. Why? He said. Any woman ashamed of a father who works with his hands should be ashamed of herself. I didn't know what to say. Jason sounded miserable. The party never recovered. That evening, Carol stopped by my house. She carried 3 aluminum food trays. Lily sent leftovers. I almost laughed. That's thoughtful. Carol didn't smile. I didn't bring them because of Lily. She placed the trays on the counter. I brought them because Jason's parents asked me to. That caught my attention. They asked about me. She nodded. They came looking. What for? They wanted your address. The next morning, there was a knock at my workshop door. I expected Carol. Instead, an elegant older couple stood outside. The man wore a tailored gray linen jacket. His wife carried a small basket of homemade pastries. Mr. Bennett? Yes, I'm Charles Whitmore. This is my wife, Evelyn. Recognition hit instantly. Jason's parents, the sophisticated people, the people my daughter believed would be embarrassed by me. Charles extended his hand. I've been hoping to meet the craftsman who built my grandson's rocking chair. I shook his hand. It's nice to meet you. He looked around the workshop, then at the covered dining table. You made that too? I did. He slowly walked toward it. May I? I nodded. He carefully lifted the canvas. Neither he nor Evelyn spoke for nearly a full minute. Finally, Evelyn whispered, "Oh my." Charles gently ran his fingertips across the carved edge. This is museum quality. I smiled politely. It was supposed to be Lily's birthday gift. He looked at me, then back at the table, then quietly asked, "She refused to let you bring this?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Everything was written on my face. Charles slowly lowered the canvas again. Then he turned toward me with an expression that had completely changed. Not pity, not sympathy, determination. He reached inside his jacket and handed me a thick cream-colored envelope. My family owns something I've spent 30 years building. I believe, after meeting you, you're exactly the man we've been looking for. I stared at the envelope. I had no idea. Opening it would change not only my life, but Lily's forever. I didn't open the envelope immediately. I looked at Charles. I think you've mistaken me for someone else. He smiled. I rarely make that mistake. He glanced around my workshop, bravos of hand tools, half-finished cabinets, wood shavings scattered across the floor. Nothing expensive, nothing flashy, just honest work. My grandfather built furniture. Charles said quietly. So did mine. He used to tell me, you can judge a craftsman by the parts nobody will ever see. His eyes settled on the underside of the dining table, the hidden joints, the unseen finish, the details only the builder knows exist. I smiled. He was a smart man. He was. So are you. He nodded toward the envelope. Go ahead. I finally opened it. Inside, there wasn't a check. There wasn't a business contract. There wasn't a property deed. It was an invitation. Whitmore Heritage Estates Private Design Director Proposal. I frowned. I don't understand. Charles folded his hands. My family restores historic estates. We've spent decades buying abandoned mansions, restoring them, and filling them with handcrafted furniture. We've been searching for someone to lead our custom workshop. I looked back at the paper. Annual salary, benefits, creative freedom, a private workshop larger than my entire property. I laughed softly. You've never even seen me work. Charles smiled. I've been seeing your work for 2 years. What? The rocking chair, the walnut cradle, the dining bench Jason bought from you. Evelyn insisted we find the man who made them. His wife nodded. They weren't furniture. They were heirlooms. I slowly folded the offer. I'm retired. Charles chuckled. No, you stopped running a business. There's a difference. Then he looked me straight in the eye. I don't think you're finished building. 3 days later, I accepted, not because of the money, because I finally realized something. For months, I'd been waiting for my family to give me a reason to keep creating. Meanwhile, complete strangers already had. The news spread much faster than I expected. The local newspaper ran a feature. Master Craftsman joins Whitmore Heritage Restoration. A photographer visited my workshop. They interviewed Charles. Then me. The article wasn't about business. It was about preserving disappearing craftsmanship. Within 48 hours, orders arrived from 3 different states. Television producers called. Woodworking magazines asked for interviews. Apparently, people still cared about handmade things. They simply hadn't known where to find them. Lily learned about it the same way everyone else did. Online. She called 6 times that morning. I answered on the 7th. Dad, her voice was shaking. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know I needed permission. No, I mean, about the Whitmores. I smiled sadly. You seemed more interested in what they thought of me. Silence, then quietly. They're famous. I know. My father-in-law has been trying to work with them for years. I know. You. She stopped speaking. Finally, she whispered. They chose you. Yes, they did. That evening, Jason came alone. He stood awkwardly inside my workshop. I'm not here to defend Lily. I wouldn't let you. I know. He looked around before quietly saying, my parents were furious. At me too. I looked surprised. You? I should have stopped her. I should have walked out the second she called you an embarrassment. He swallowed hard. I didn't, so I'm responsible too. I respected him for saying it. Very few people admit they stayed silent when they should have spoken. Jason reached into his truck, then carried something inside. The princess birthday cake, still frozen, still untouched. They never cut it. He placed it gently on my workbench. No one felt like celebrating after you left. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then Jason quietly asked, can I tell you something? I nodded. My mother said, a person's greatest achievement isn't impressing wealthy people. It's raising children who are proud to introduce you. His eyes filled with regret. I don't think we passed that test. Before I could answer, the workshop door opened. Lily stepped inside. She wasn't carrying flowers. She wasn't carrying excuses. She looked exhausted, like someone who hadn't slept in days. She took one look at the untouched birthday cake, then at the dining table still covered beneath its canvas. Her knees slowly gave way. She knelt on the dusty workshop floor. Tears rolled down her face. Dad, I don't deserve to ask, but please, can you forgive me? For a moment, no one moved. Lily remained on her knees, crying so hard she couldn't finish a sentence. The workshop was silent except for the ticking of the old wall clock. I looked at my daughter, not the successful woman everyone admired, not the hostess of the birthday party, just the little girl who used to scrape her knees riding a bicycle and come running to me because she believed I could fix anything. The only difference now was that I couldn't fix this for her. She had to. Dad, she whispered again. I traded the person who loved me the most for the approval of people I barely knew. I walked over and gently helped her to her feet. You don't belong on your knees. She couldn't even look at me. I deserve to be. No, you deserve to understand what you've done. That's much harder. Fresh tears rolled down her face. She finally looked around the workshop. Every shelf held something she'd grown up with. The birdhouse we'd built together when she was 8. The tiny wooden toy horse I'd carved after her first riding lesson. A faded photograph of her sitting on my shoulders at the county fair. She picked up the picture with trembling hands. I forgot who you were. I smiled sadly. No, you forgot who you were. Her eyes stopped on the covered dining table. Is that really for me? I nodded. It was. She slowly pulled away the canvas. The rich walnut glowed beneath the afternoon sunlight. Her fingertips traced the carved edge exactly as Charles Whitmore had. It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. You weren't supposed to. It was going to be your birthday surprise. She covered her mouth and began crying again. Then she noticed something underneath. She crouched down. There, carved into the hidden underside, were the words, "For every family gathering." She read them aloud, then completely broke down. I told everyone, "You weren't family." I closed my eyes. I heard. She looked up in shock. "You were there?" I parked 2 streets away. I heard my grandson ask where Grandpa was. I heard you answer, "We're celebrating with family today." She buried her face in her hands. I'll regret those words for the rest of my life. A week later, Lily asked if she could come to the workshop every Saturday, not to apologize. To learn the first morning, she arrived wearing expensive designer clothes. Within 20 minutes, they were covered in sawdust. She laughed for the first time in weeks. I had no idea woodworking was this hard. I handed her a sanding block. I wasn't trying to build furniture, I was trying to build patience. She smiled. I finally understand. Every Saturday became our day. No phones, no business meetings, no social media, just a father, a daughter, and pieces of wood slowly becoming something worth keeping. Months passed. One afternoon, Jason arrived carrying Noah. My grandson ran straight toward me. "Grandpa, I made something." He proudly held up a crooked little wooden picture frame. Lily laughed. "He insisted you teach him." I looked at the tiny frame. It wasn't straight. The corners didn't line up. There were glue smudges everywhere. It was perfect, because someone had made it with love. Exactly the lesson I'd tried to teach all along. Nearly a year after that birthday, Lily called the entire family together. Not for another party, not for a holiday, just dinner. When everyone arrived, the beautiful walnut dining table stood in the center of the room, exactly where I'd imagined it. She waited until everyone sat down, then stood. "I need to say something." She looked directly at me. The biggest mistake of my life wasn't uninviting my father. It was believing success meant impressing strangers instead of honoring the man who gave me everything. She took a deep breath. "This table reminds me every single day that families aren't built by appearances, they're built by sacrifice." Then, in front of everyone, she walked over, wrapped her arms around me, and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me." I hugged her back, not because she'd earned forgiveness, but because forgiveness isn't something people earn, it's something love chooses to give. Today, I'm 61. Every Saturday, Noah still comes to my workshop. He's already ruined more pieces of wood than I can count. He calls every crooked shelf "Grandpa quality." And I never correct him, because someday, he'll understand that perfection was never the goal. The goal was always to leave behind something that lasts. Sometimes, that's a handcrafted table. Sometimes, it's a restored relationship. And if you're fortunate enough, it becomes both.